wouldn't. He adjusted his hat on his head. Who knows about this? Certainly not Jack, or we'd have had a shotgun wedding by now. His frown deepened. You're not even dating anyone. She smiled at her brother, because an off-putting offense was always the best defense. I know you're a monk and all, but there is this thing called a one-night stand. He swore again, taking off his hat and raking his hand through his hair. Who is it? He demanded, all furious and older brotherly. Anna didn't shrink in on herself, though she kind of wanted to. Pregnancy was making her weak. She sniffed and lifted her chin instead. None of your business. Why not? Anna had always considered Cash the most reasonable of her brothers. Jack and Grant were the upstanding stick-in-the-muds. Palmer was more like her, or had been before he decided to go fall in love with her best friend. And Cash was the reasonable one, the single dad who kept an even keel no matter what went wrong. His typical response to anything was to hunker down. But the look on his face was decidedly unreasonable and bloodthirsty. I don't need you wading in to fix my problems, Cash. I can handle this. Cash's expression changed. She realized he might be the calm one, but he was also the worst one to find out about this, because he'd been in an accidental pregnancy situation himself, as the father of the baby. You told the guy, right? He said, very carefully, all cool and detached, while his eyes were hot with his own issues. Anna decided silence was her best weapon, but that only made Cash swear even more. Anna, you gotta tell the guy. She shrugged jerkily, because anyone telling her what she had to do grated, especially when they were right. Why? Because it's his kid, too? There was no argument to be had here. First, Cash wasn't the audience. Second, she knew she had to tell the father. Every night, she told herself tomorrow would be the day. And every morning, she chickened out. Not her usual M.O., but Hawk Steele was a problem. He isn't local. So take a trip, Cash replied, firmly, and she had to blame it on pregnancy hormones, because she was not a soft woman. She'd learned to be hard. She'd lost her parents at 8, and though her sister had tried to fill in as a kind of maternal influence, Mary was only 2 years older than she was. So Anna had learned how to be tough, how to be a Hudson. She'd done the rodeo. She was a licensed private investigator. She'd fought people, shot people, been shot at. She didn't cry. But there were tears in her eyes now, even if she managed to blink them away. Cash, I can do this on my own. Well, not my own, but I have you guys. We'll be all right. Cash inhaled, then pulled her into a hug, because he had a little girl, and he was a good dad, and he knew how to comfort better than any of them. We will be, Anna, no matter what. He pulled back, fixed her with a stare that made her wonder if her parents would just despair of her if they were still around. But he has to know. You've got to give him a chance to be all right, too. I know. I do. Well, bottom line was, she just didn't want to. She'd always handled guys easily. She had 4 older brothers, plenty of family trauma. Guys had never scared her, never gotten the upper hand on her. She enjoyed the ones she wanted, then discarded, and had lived that way quite happily and carefully until she'd met Hawk Steele's dark blue gaze across the room at a bar. She'd been handling a private investigation case, away from Sunrise and away from her family, and she'd never felt that way. And as tough girl as she liked to pretend, she'd never had a one-night stand before. They hadn't even exchanged last names at the time. There'd just been something elemental, necessary. And she'd been foolish enough to forget all her rules, to forget everything, until she'd woken up in his bed, wrapped up in him, knowing she had to get the hell out before something. She hadn't been surprised when he'd shown up in her life a little while later, because of course she'd looked him up after that night. It wasn't hard to track down a guy named Hawk in Bent County, Wyoming, especially when, it turned out, he worked for Bent County as a fire investigator. So when her friend Louisa's family home burned down before Christmas, Anna had figured she'd end up running into Hawk Steele. She'd practiced her casual, flirty smile.